What's up, boys? Back with another video. We're going to be trying something new today. We're going to be breaking down UFC 303, Pereira versus Prochazka 2, most confident picks, and props. Let's get into it. First fight up would be Simone versus Oliveira. I feel like Oliveira doesn't have the best chance, but he has the knockout power, so I'm going to have to put him on low slash pick him. I have low confidence in him winning. I feel like for Simone, he should have a comfortable win here. He should just work in the takedowns, control time, maybe even finish him because Oliveira is immune to getting finished. I think all three of his losses are finishes. So yeah. Next fight up actually is Carlos Hernandez versus Ray Tessuria. Okay, I'd say Ray Tessuria. He should win. Um, his odds are too much. I'm not too confident in him for that reason. That's why I wouldn't put him higher in a comfortable win because he should win. His odds show it. He has the finishing capability. Carlos Hernandez isn't that crazy good. I'd say that he has skill. He's tough. He can survive. He's faced some tough competition and he's gotten some decent wins. But I'd also put him at a low confidence pick or low chance of winning. Um, yeah. All right. Next fight. Arlovsky versus Boudet. I feel like I don't know. I'd say I'd probably put both of them on pick'em. I don't know how the odds are this. I definitely can't put Arlovsky. I have Arlovsky winning, but I definitely can't put Arlovsky as should win because he is 45. He's slowing down. He could be a little bit chinny, but I feel like Boudet doesn't really have the power. I feel like these odds should be at a pick'em. Both of them low confidence. I think both of them could win. I have Arlovsky, but put him on a low or pick'em. Next fight up, Watterson versus Robertson. I'd say both of them are low as well. I'd say Robertson is the favorite. She's too much of a favorite for my liking. I'd say she can work in takedowns. She has a good jiu-jitsu game, and she's dangerous on the ground. But I don't know. I feel like Watterson can definitely stuff the takedowns and just keep her distance on the outside and work in kicks and work her way to a decision. And when it's a decision fight, women's fight, I feel like it can be a close one. Judges can go the wrong way. I feel like this should be more of a pick'em line. Next fight up, Gamori versus Talbot. You just put him there because I feel like Talbot. I mean, especially the odds wise, but also Talbot is a young prospect. We've seen Gamori already. He went against Gomes, got KO'd, but that was some bullshit with the nut shot. But he was clearly losing a 30-27, low output. Talbot is a sniper. He has power. He doesn't have that like one punch power, but I'd say that he's gonna just land anything he wants, piece him up, decision him. 30-27, 30-26, 30-25, get maybe some knockdowns, or I think he actually just finishes him, but I think either way he's just gonna dominate him. Next fight up, Silva versus Jourdain. I'd say that this fight is probably how the odds say it. It's a close fight. I feel like Jourdain is Silva's toughest matchup. It's his highest competition. He's beaten people like Wilson and a contender series win. I'd say he isn't too proven, but his potential is way higher than Jourdain. Jourdain has a couple losses that don't bode too well. Jourdain, he has some really good output at times. He can pull a sneaky submission. I think that the odds are about right. I feel like this is a step up for Silva. I wouldn't be surprised if Silva was the favorite, but he's the underdog by slightly. But this is a close fight. It's hard to pick, but I'd have Silva winning. Next up, Swanson versus Feely. I don't know. I feel like I'm putting a lot of them low slash pick 'em, but I feel like this is another one. Both of them are chinny. Both of them are older. Swanson is definitely like at least like 5 years older, I believe. But I feel like this is like Swanson has a better chin. Swanson has some decent output. He is on his way out, obviously. He's probably going to retire soon. Feely is just too chinny and too untrustable for my liking. He has power. He looks good. He has takedowns as well. I feel like Swanson has takedowns as well. This is a close fight. I don't know. I feel like the odds are just way too much. Plus 180 on Swanson. I feel like that's pretty good. And I think both of them are pretty chinny. The knockout prop on Swanson is like plus 500, which is pretty nuts in my opinion. Because like I feel like this matchup is a bit tailored for the knockout. I think either of them can get the knockout, but I think it's a close fight. It's hard to pick. Next up, oh, I think I got him tangled. It should be like that. Okay, Pfeiffer versus Barrialt. I feel like on the grand scheme of things, Barrialt should have a low chance, and Pfeiffer should have a comfortable win. He did just get fraud checked. I'd say Barrialt isn't the fighter that Hermanson is. He is tough. He is tough like Hermanson, but I think he's just not as technical. He's not as experienced. Barrialt is good. I think that he could win like a third round. The third round in the fight if it goes that far. But Pfeiffer has the submission threat. He has a knockout power. He's the better overall fighter. He should win, but I feel like he has the knockout threat, so it should be a comfortable win with being able to get takedowns and Barrialt being able to get hit a bunch. He has a pretty good chin, but I'd say he gets hit too much for my liking. I was freaking tripping. Next up, Gary versus Page. I feel like this is a comfortable win for Gary. I think that he can stay on the outside, pick his shots, just kick him up until he bursts in. Because I feel like Page bursts in. He kind of like stays really far away, does his like little freaking karate jumping jack fight style, has power on the grand. I don't know. I feel like the perception of him is that he has power, but I don't know. UFC, he hasn't fought anybody like pure UFC level. Gary, he's been there. I think he's like 6-0 in the UFC, maybe even 7-0. He has the composure. He has the technique. I think he's more technical than Page. I think he can take him down as well. I think he should have a comfortable win. I think this is probably a little bit on the higher side. He should win, but I feel like I just back Gary. I feel like I really like his technique, so I think that he should have a comfortable win in this fight. Next up, Silva versus Chayasun. I feel like I don't know. I want to put Silva at domination just because I think that she's gonna submit Chayasun. I feel like if Chayasun decides to go for takedowns, she's in trouble. I feel like if this fight goes to the ground, Silva's definitely getting the submission. And I think it does go to the ground. So comfortable or domination? I don't know. I think I'm gonna go domination, just because I feel like she's gonna finish her early, probably in the first or second round, by submission. So I wouldn't say zero chance. I'd say low chance to win. She obviously has a size advantage. She has takedowns, but I think that she's pretty much only able to strike in this matchup just because the ground game is so dangerous for Silva. But yeah, domination for Silva. It might be a little bit too much, but I'm really liking her. I think that she can get the submission. I think she can win by decision. I think she'll get takedowns. I think she'll do well enough on the feet. So I think it'll be more than a comfortable win for her. Next up, Smith versus Delice. I feel like Smith should win. I feel like you can't put Delice at zero chance, obviously, but a lot of people are picking Delice. I don't really rate Delice at all. He's moving up from 185 to 205. He's kind of like a wild puncher that like has knockout power, but it's not technical. He doesn't really have takedowns, and his best thing is grappling. So if it does go to the ground, I'm sure Smith could get submitted. Smith has been finished multiple times, so he could get knocked out as well. But I feel like Smith being at 205, being experienced, being off of the high off Petrino win, I feel like he can get it done by knockout. I think he should win. I don't know how he's the underdog. This is his weight class. He's more proven, more experienced. He's obviously older, a bit delusional, but I have Smith winning, and he should win. Next up, Ortega versus Lopez. Uh, I feel like both of them have to be on low slash pick 'em. I feel like I kind of wanted to put Ortega at should win just because this fight just got moved up to 155. He's more experienced. He's proven to be tough. He doesn't get finished like all the people that Lopez has been finishing. Like they're not as proven as Ortega. Ortega has went up there against Volkanovski, Max Holloway. He got finished by Max Holloway in the fifth round, but he took an absolute beating that Lopez could never give him. Lopez isn't as technical as these upper echelon guys. Ortega was taking shots from a year, getting pieced up, even got dropped, still ate it, kept pushing, kept going forward. He's a dog. I think him at dog money is really good just because he's is a dog. Like if you described him, he's a dog with really good jiu-jitsu. I feel like jiu-jitsu isn't really um, the it like I feel like Lopez's jiu-jitsu game is good enough probably to stop the submission from Ortega, but if there is a submission in this fight, it's definitely going to be on Ortega's side. I feel like if it's a knockout, it's on Lopez's side. It's a close fight to pick. I favor Ortega by decision by being able to get the takedowns and having control time. Next up, the main event: Alex Pereira versus Prochazka. Yuri Prochazka. I'd say that this, even though my pick is Prochazka, I feel like Pereira should win. I want to put them both on low slash pick 'em, which I feel like that's fair because both of them have the power advantage is on Pereira's side, but both of them have power. Prochazka is dog tough. I feel like Prochazka. I don't know. I kind of want to maybe even switch it. No, I'm switching it. Alex Pereira should lose this fight just from grappling's perspective. I feel like Prochazka being able to take him down in the first round, control him, win that first round, win half the second round, then get knocked out and caught. Definitely an early stoppage, but I'd say that if it carried on, maybe it would have been finished as well. I don't know. I know that Yuri was saying that he was hurt, but I feel like the fact that the striking it is like a lot different because Pereira will just leg kick the fuck out of you, have a really good powerful strikes, have really good hooks. If his left hand lands, it's pretty much game over for you. But I feel like Yuri's funky style, being able to just not predict what he's doing, can work in takedowns. And if it goes to the ground, I feel like he'll be able to hold him down because Pereira doesn't really do too much to try to get out of the ground. He'll just pretty much lay on his back until the round is over. So I feel like Prochazka should win. Fuck, it's making me want to say that both of them should win, but that doesn't really make sense, huh? Because Pereira has already beaten him. He has that aura. Fuck. It's a tough one. I mean, I'm just gonna leave it as it is because I'm gonna back Prochazka. I think he's gonna win, and I believe he'll work in the takedown. So yeah, that's my most confident picks. Let's get into the props. First fight, um, Simone versus Oliveira. I feel like this is gonna go to decision. I feel like the odds on this fight going decision isn't crazy, but I'd say that it'll be low medium chance of this hitting. I'd say that both of them have the finishing capabilities, so you can't really put it as a good prop. But if you agree with Simone being able to get the takedowns and Oliveira being able to be tough enough to survive, I feel like this fight is definitely going to go to decision in your eyes. Um, and that's how I see it. Oliveira can obviously knock out Simone, but he is really tough. He hasn't really been knocked out by many people, or maybe only Song Yadong. I'm not sure. Oliveira has been finished 3 times, so that is not the best look, but Simone is not necessarily the most finishing threat. Next up, Hernandez versus Taitsuria. think it's gonna be a finish. Is it a good prop? I'd say I'm gonna leave it at low medium right now. I'd say that Taisuria, he isn't proven. He hasn't faced anybody that good. Hernandez is his toughest matchup, so he definitely could survive. He's been kind of Taisuria has been steamrolling everybody. I think he's only had one fight out of 9 go to decision. So I believe that he will be able to continue and be able to get the takedowns and get Hernandez back and get a submission. Um, not Probably not a good prop just because he isn't proven to be that finisher in the UFC, but he's definitely one to look out for. Arlovsky versus Boudet. I feel like I almost want to put this as best prop because I feel like this fight going to decision is pretty likely. I'm just put it as good prop for now because Arlovsky is a decision fighter. All his wins are by decision, and Boudet, I don't know if he's any of his finishes are more of like a volume thing and people giving up. Arlovsky is really tough. He knows how to keep distance. He's really technical. He's not really getting knocked out by people at the level of Boudet. I know he got knocked out by he got submitted by Lima, but he also got dropped. He didn't get knocked out by Waldo Acosta, so that's not. It's like kind of shows that his chin isn't too bad. I think Boudet, he kind of just like his style is just to push you up against the fence and kind of just like grind out a boring decision. So I think that this fight is like a really good chance of going decision. I really want to put it as best props, but for now we won't. Next up, Watterson versus Robertson. I feel like this is at minimum a good prop. I feel like both, not both actually. Robertson is a finisher. She's really good on the ground, dangerous. But I feel like Watterson's takedown defense is good enough to not get submitted. Watterson is proven. I feel like she's faced better competition recently than Robertson. She is like on a 4 losing streak, but they're against better competition than Robertson. Robertson is promising with her submissions and she has good takedowns, but I feel like Watterson's takedown defense is good enough to stop that, and then she's good enough with her distance control and kicks to make this fight go to decision. So I think that it is really likely. Next up, Talbot versus Gamori. I feel like I want to say this is probably one of my hard fuck, I don't know. It's definitely in between Arlovsky, Boudet, and Watterson and Robertson. I'm gonna just leave it here. I think that Talbot should finish him. Fuck it, nah. I'm gonna put it as one of the best props because I feel like he should finish him. He finished people like Cameron Simon, which is a way better opponent than Yanis Gamori. He has low output. Talbot is a sniper, and he just ends up finding his shot eventually. He has went to decision before, but that's more of against like wrestlers. He does seem like he struggles with wrestling a little bit, but he has a submission threat. He has probably takedowns of his own. He just hasn't really shown it. Gamari just seems like a big step down from Simon. So I think that he's going to finish him. Yeah. I don't know exactly the odds on it, but I'd say if it's below minus 300, I feel like it's pretty good. Decision for Silva versus Jourdain. I feel like this is risky, but just because Silva isn't too proven, he hasn't faced anybody like Jourdain. And the thing is, Silva's potential is really high. He has come off one knockout win against Wilson, and then destroying in the Contender Series, which is nowhere near Jourdain's level. I think this fight is going to go to decision just because Silva's pretty low output. I think Jourdain has pretty good output, but he also can get taken down. He does have losses that kind of just, I don't know, aren't the best for him. It's risky to do it because both of them have the finishing capabilities, but yeah, I think it's a risky one for sure. Next up, Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili. Finish. I'd say it's low medium. I feel like both like this is kind of like a fight for them to get finished because Cub Swanson has a lot of finishes in his last couple fights. Same with Fili. Fili's really chinny. Swanson, he's not like necessarily chinny, but he is old. He's deteriorating. He's on his way out. Fili has power to knock him out. Um, Not crazy confident in it, but I feel like a knockout is definitely brewing early, or even late. Both of them are tough. Um, I think that they could survive, but I see it as going by KO. Next up, Joe Pyfer versus Barrialt. Decision. I feel like it's risky. I don't know. I feel like the odds on decision aren't that good. I think it's like plus like maybe 110, 120, 130. Um, I think that Pyfer can finish him, and he could possibly get finished in the third round by Barrialt. I feel like Barrialt is really tough. He gets hit too much, so that's why Pyfer can finish him. Pyfer can finish him on the ground and on the feet. Pyfer has really good power. It's risky just because he's coming off a fraud check of Hermanson. Um, and I'd say that Pyfer uh, will be a little bit more cautious because he gassed out in his last fight against Hermanson. He's going to be more cautious, maybe working takedowns, control, just pick his shots more. And picking his shots more could possibly get the knockout, but I believe it's going to go to decision. Next up, Ian Gary versus Michael Page. Decision. I'd say I think it's a good prop because although both of them have knockout power, I feel like this will be like a slower fight. Um, Kind of like on the outside. Page is really far away from his opponent at all times, has the karate stance, jumping jacks, and then just blitzes in. I think Ian Gary's distance control is good enough to just keep him at bay, and just kick him while before he's coming in, and then just like deteriorate him like that, and get himself a comfortable decision. Next up, Silva versus Chaisen. I think that this finish is a good prop. It might even be one of the best props just because Chaisen, if she even decides to go for a takedown here, she's in trouble. Silva's way too dangerous on the ground. I think that the finishing upside is pretty much all on Silva. I don't think Chaisen can finish um, Silva. So if you think that Chaisen wins this fight, I wouldn't consider this a good prop, but I believe that Silva is going to submit her, and I think that she'll just win by decision if it goes decision. So I'm pretty big on Silva. I think she's going to win. I think she'll work in her own takedowns or get taken down and find a submission, or like a ninja choke or guillotine. I feel like she can get pretty much anything on Chaisen since she's a lot more dangerous and a lot better on the ground. But Silva by submission is a good prop to me. Next up, Smith versus Delitse. Finish. I think it's low medium. I feel like this could go decision. Delitse is kind of a power puncher that just throws wild punches. Smith can get finished a bunch. Smith has a lot of submissions, but I don't really see him submitting Delitse. I think that he's going to knock him out, actually. I think this fight is going to be a stand-up fight just because neither of them are going to go for a takedown. I think Delitse's striking is not as good as Smith's. Delitse is moving up. I don't really like him at 185, let alone at 205, so I think this fight's going to end in finish. Next up, Ortega versus Lopez. I think that this fight going decision, I think it's a sneaky good prop, but I don't know if it's. I'm just gonna put it on low medium, just because. I don't know. Lopez's aura of just finishing people, although Ortega doesn't get finished, I feel like him having that finishing threat and Ortega having the submission threat, even though Lopez has good grappling, I'd say that his grappling is worse than Ortega's. Ortega Hasn't fought somebody this low in a while, I feel like, and Lopez hasn't faced anybody like Ortega. Oh my goodness, Jesus Christ, scared me. Um, Lopez hasn't faced anybody. He's been beating people that are good. He had a really good win against Sadiq Yusuf, but and knocked him out in the first round. But Ortega is just too tough. I think this fight is definitely going decision, but it is a bit on the riskier side, but still decent confidence in it. And the main event, Pereira versus Prochazka. I think this is the number one best prop. I feel like this fight going finish is just like you got to all in on it because there's no way that this fight is going decision, right? I feel like the odds on the decision is like plus 340 or something like that. Um, I believe that either of them can get the finish. This is at that heavy of a weight, that high caliber, that pretty much all fights go end and finish here. Um, this fight already happened, ended in the second round. I feel like it was an early stoppage, but it was destined to end earlier. I think that it definitely ends under 3.5 rounds. I believe that Prochazka will be able to work in the takedowns and get some good ground and pound on Pereira just because he just lays there. But Pereira can also catch him, or Prochazka can catch him. But that's going to be my best bets for props. Thanks for watching.